The last sound anyone ever heard from Eliza Hayes wasn't a scream, but a frantic, fragmented voice message left at 1:17 a.m. on a frigid Tuesday. The words were difficult to hear, broken by static, but two phrases cut through the noise with chilling clarity. "It's all rigged. The auction. Watch the red files." It wasn't the sound of a woman in physical danger, but of a woman who had seen a truth so terrifying, she was being erased for knowing it. This wasn't a crime of sudden, uncontrolled rage. This was a crime of pure calculation. Eliza Hayes didn't simply disappear. She was surgically removed from existence after creating an algorithm she called the silent auction, a program that could predict when Rentown's most powerful people would steal the public coastline, piece by piece. The mystery isn't who took her. The ultimate puzzle is how a paralytic drug and a ruthless business deal became the perfect murder weapon. Tonight, we expose the chilling truth that corruption is sometimes deadlier than passion. We follow the relentless detective who had to navigate his own compromised department to prove that Eliza Hayes was silenced by the very elite she sought to expose. Stay with us, because the ultimate reveal shows how a city's wealthiest citizens utilized professional, bureaucratic efficiency to execute a flawless murder. Welcome back. Today, we confront the case that became a quiet monument to profound greed, the silent auction, the case of Eliza Hayes. We explore a vanishing that exposed the dark intersection of municipal corruption, high finance, and the ruthless efficiency of murder. The city was Rentown, a coastal jewel with a powerful facade. Eliza Hayes, at 38, was an anomaly, a computational analyst for Pylon Analytics. She wasn't driven by society but by data, cold, irrefutable numbers. Her home office, high-tech and isolated, was her sanctuary. We must remember Eliza not as a victim, but as the brilliant mind who uncovered the city's greatest secret. Her disappearance wasn't a walkout, it was a targeted deletion. Her close friend, Chloe Dunn, was the only person who heard the alarm before the silence set in. The case landed on the desk of Detective Sergeant Elias Vance, a weary veteran of the local police. Vance immediately met resistance. His superior, Captain Roger Silas, moved to downgrade the case, suggesting Eliza was merely mentally unstable or on a spontaneous trip. The pressure was immediate and political. Vance's first sign of a cover-up wasn't from the public, but from within his own department. The first suspect was the easy one, Marcus Vale, Eliza's on-again, off-again boyfriend. An architect who benefited from city contracts, his resentment of Eliza's paranoia was clear. Yet, his alibi, a planning summit 300 miles away with a powerful developer, was verified. The crime scene solidified the truth. Eliza's apartment was a forensic blank slate. Her main computer drive was gone, the security cameras were wiped clean, and even the dust patterns suggested a professional cleanup. This was too meticulous, too clean for a crime of passion. Defying the police, Chloe Dunn brought Vance the true key, an old laptop and a flash drive containing Eliza's life's work. Eliza had built a predictive algorithm she named the silent auction. The program wasn't hacking, it was pattern recognition. It cross-referenced municipal meeting minutes, zoning schedules, and shell company filings to predict the exact moment protected public land would be discreetly put up for private purchase, and more importantly, who was ready to place the anonymous bids. The red files were the data spikes that flagged the illegal activity. Vance shifted his focus entirely, moving from the crime of passion to the crime of profound, organized greed. He brought in Officer Sandra Ruiz, his only trusted ally, and they began cross-referencing Eliza's predicted land deals with public records. Three names surfaced in a repeating, terrifying pattern, forming a trinity of power in Rentown: Judge Alistair Thorne, Dr. Helena Voss, and Silas Carr. Vance knew who had the money and the legal authority, but he needed the physical link. That link came a month later, not as a piece of digital evidence, but as the grim, profound silence of Eliza Hayes' final resting place. The investigation now centered on three distinct, powerful entities. Judge Alistair Thorne had the legal authority to sign off on zoning changes and seal court documents. Dr. Helena Vance controlled the money. Her firm, the Trident Group, specialized in opaque offshore trusts and blind proxy bids. And Silas Carr, former municipal security chief, ran a private security firm, Vigilant Shield, the perfect organization to handle the physical abduction and forensic cleanup. They were a self-contained, high-functioning criminal ecosystem. Weeks bled into a month. Despite Vance's efforts, the political pressure mounted, and the case was nearing its cold classification. Then, the grim discovery. Eliza Hayes' body was found in a meticulously restored, isolated outbuilding of an abandoned shipyard. The property was significant. It had been the centerpiece of a controversial land deal that Eliza's algorithm had flagged a year earlier. The location itself was a deliberate, cruel message. She was silenced at the site of their previous, successful theft. There were no defensive wounds, no signs of struggle. Eliza was seated unervingly on a vintage wooden chair, staring at an empty wall. The toxicology report revealed the horrifying, deliberate method. Eliza had been injected with atracurium, a rare, research-grade neuromuscular blocking agent. This drug paralyzes the patient, but leaves them completely conscious. The killer didn't need to struggle with her. They left her, restrained in the chair, fully aware but motionless, to succumb to hypothermia in the unheated building. This was a murder executed with cold, impersonal precision. The initial theory of rage was dead. The motive had to be absolute necessity. The true revelation from the Red Files was that Eliza hadn't intended to go public with her findings. She had attempted to blackmail the conspirators, hoping to expose them on her own terms and potentially profit from her data. The conspirators, facing ruin, didn't view her as a person. They viewed her as an irritating piece of software they needed to delete. The use of atracurium perfectly fit the profile, an utterly impersonal, non-violent, efficient method of silencing a threat. The rare tranquilizer was traceable to a few select laboratories, one of which received substantial private funding through a medical holding company managed by Dr. Helena Vance's Trident Group. Vance had his full chain. Dr. Vance had the means, the drug. Judge Thorne had the ultimate motive, political corruption, and Silas Carr had the physical access and manpower, the clean abduction and disposal. The ruthless efficiency of the crime was its own signature. They thought they had committed the perfect crime, a digital erasure wrapped in a bureaucratic murder. But the single piece of evidence that brought them all down wasn't the algorithm, or even the drug. It was a simple, misplaced parking ticket found miles away from the crime scene. The breakthrough came from the parking ticket. A Rentown city ticket, issued the night of the abduction, was found wedged in a drainage pipe near the shipyard. It was issued to a vehicle registered to Vigilant Shield Security, Silas Carr's company. This physical evidence, combined with the financial and forensic links, was enough. Vance, now coordinating with state authorities to bypass Captain Silas, orchestrated a simultaneous takedown. Thorne, Vance and Carr were arrested in high-visibility raids designed to prevent any further file shredding or evidence destruction. The trial was a public spectacle, tearing the veil off Rentown's elite. The defense repeatedly tried to paint Eliza Hayes as unstable, arguing her silent auction was evidence of paranoia. They claimed Thorne and Vance were victims of an extortion plot. But the prosecution, relying on cold hard data, Eliza's verified algorithms, the drug trail from Vance's funding, and the physical evidence tied to Carr, left no room for doubt. The prosecutor, summarizing the crime, stated, "Eliza Hayes was killed because she provided an inconvenient truth." These defendants valued a piece of coastline more than a human life. The jury found all three conspirators guilty on charges of murder, conspiracy, and racketeering. The verdict was a victory for the pursuit of justice, but the aftermath was complex. The case exposed deep corruption. Captain Silas was later investigated and removed, and several municipal contracts tied to Thorne were invalidated. For the people of Rentown, the silence of Eliza Hayes became a permanent, ethical scar, a reminder that power does not equate to integrity. The true legacy of Eliza Hayes lies not in her death, but in her work. Her algorithm, the silent auction, was adopted by a coalition of independent journalists and watchdog groups. Her data now serves as a tool for public defense, alerting citizens anytime a suspicious pattern emerges in public land deals. Eliza Hayes wasn't silenced. Her work was amplified, ensuring that the powerful will always be held accountable to the numbers. The fight for justice continues every time a new land deal is flagged. The case of Eliza Hayes demonstrated that the darkest, most profound crimes are not those committed in the heat of passion, but those executed with the ruthless, bureaucratic efficiency of the people we empower. It was the ultimate crime of calculated indifference. We owe a debt of gratitude to Detective Vance and Officer Ruiz, the few lights in a compromised system, who refused to let political pressure rewrite the truth. The story of the silent auction is a testament to the fact that when the pursuit of profit becomes paramount, human life is simply a variable to be removed. The conspirators were brought down by a rare drug, an algorithm, and a parking ticket. What do you believe was the most critical mistake the Power Trinity made that allowed Detective Vance to finally expose them? Let me know your theory in the comments below. If you appreciate our commitment to ethical, evidence-based true crime reporting, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell to follow our next investigation into the shadows of power. Thank you for watching.